Hey, I'm Dart.
And I'm Lisa.
Hey, welcome everyone to another fun Monday night. And we have a lot of things, good, cool things to talk about tonight.
Oh, do
And
we know?
yeah, we do.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's good, bad, or indifferent. We always start off is that we believe that life is made up of relationships, your health, and your wealth. And so we love to talk about things that fall into those three categories.
Yes.
And what else?
But you know what? Speaking of health, Dart, I had my physical exam on Friday.
How's your arm?
My arm is good. My shot is good. Like I'm healthy. I got a clean bill of health. So
there you go.
yay
That's
me.
Right. That's right.
So anyway, yes, and we also believe that just even with your relationships, health, and wealth, we also want to make your planning for your financial future. It should be fun. It should
That's
be
right.
easy. It should, you should have the safety and security of knowing that your financial future is already planned and you don't have that stressor on you. You don't have that weight on you.
Yeah, you know where your income's going to come from when you decide to retire and that type of things. And
well, do you know, Dart, that people who know that, if they have their safety and security, people who actually know where their retirement's coming from, they actually live longer and they're healthier.
They're happier.
And they're
They
happier.
just get up every January 1st, and they pretty well know what's going on. And then it's like, life throws stuff at you, and so but you don't have to worry about the market going up or down, and all those other financial frustrations when you know that your needs and your living is taken care of. But yes,
absolutely.
Surveys have shown that is the happiest retired people is whenever there's not a concern for income.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of health, like if y'all notice, like Dart's eye is a little bit infected. He spent the day yesterday baling hay on the farm.
I was not baling.
You hay. Were.
I was not baling. Hay.
You were doing.
Hay got wet.
The hay got wet.
That's right. So,
and what does that mean to a farmer when the hay gets wet, Dart?
It's loss of money. But so we had to get the hay off the ground. It was in square bales, and it was ready to be picked up on Friday. But it rained on Friday, and so we had to flip it over and dry it out. And we handled about 650 square bales about 3 times.
And yay! But your eye really took a little beating.
Yeah. So I woke up this morning with little infection in my left eye. So
sorry,
nursing that all day. And
so if Dart's eye looks a little funny, I didn't punch him, I didn't hit him, y'all.
Right. Poke me in the eye.
Yeah. But today we were going to talk to you just a little bit about just some networking tips and tricks.
Yeah, and so it falls under just building good relationships.
And if you want to comment as we go and just tell us the things that you like or what you think works for you or what you've noticed, just chime in
or ask a question. So you want to start off with your pen?
With my pen? Oh, I don't really love business cards. Like you really should have business cards to share. So instead of business cards, this is my business card and it is a pen. And yes, it's pink and white with my name on it and my website on it and my phone number and email on there. But last week I went to a meeting and I was at a restaurant, a nice restaurant, not even in my city, not in Franklin. And the lady brought my check out with my card and she brought a pen with it for me to sign my bill. And lo and behold, the pen she brought was my pen. And I'm just like, oh, yay. So, I think those things, they get around. Who knew?
That's right. Absolutely. So, it's like, and it's like building relationships and, the buzzword in business is networking. And sometimes, it's scary things. And I can be transparent is that I never once thought myself as a good networker. I did not like to go to chamber meetings and big events, and I just felt out of place.
Well, I'm just going to say, hold on, Dart, because
that's me.
No, I believe you, but when I met you at a meeting, so you must have networked something right that day.
So, then that came from a quality relationship. Miss Diane Canada.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a quality relationship that was built from LinkedIn networking, or networking through LinkedIn. And but however, so I would just say that probably 10 years ago, we can go back that far, is that networking to me was painful. However, I was a good connector. I've always been a good.
You still are.
Yeah, always been a good connector. And so, what kind of one is that time is so precious today, and it's difficult. So it's an investment whenever you invest your time. So these are some things that I've learned through, not being the natural networker. Some things that I've learned to be very helpful. And there's a lot of people that some of this stuff just no one's ever told me. It would just kind of come from my own, but it's like, so the question is, if are you a good connector? Do you want to be a better connector? And if you want to get that reputation, then it comes from quality introductions. So that sounds kind of, oxymoron. It's like, well, of course you want a quality introduction, but for me, it's like, really, how can you make the introduction to help someone to get what they need? Okay. And so, and one of the things that I adopted, and maybe I heard this sometime, but Lisa is the extrovert who loves to go into a crowd of 50 to 100 or 300 people and just be completely at ease, with that. And I'm a little bit of an introvert. I'm an introvert that can play in the extrovert role for short periods of time. So when I got a huge room of people, is I look for someone who's not talking to anyone and just go up and start talking to them. And so that's kind of like, okay, I can fall into that comfort zone.
And you can relate to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But my goal, whether I'm there for an hour and a half or whatever, my goal is to only find 1 to 3 people that I connect with enough to have a coffee meeting with, to have a follow-up meeting. It's like not trying to do it all in that meeting where you have a lot of people. And, but, find something interesting. And the thing is that when I find someone that's interesting that I want to do that, then I'm ready to just move on in that meeting to go find, someone else, to allow them to go find somebody else, for me to go find somebody. Because it's like, yes, we are going to meet next week or for coffee or by Zoom or by a phone call, because we've got some things that we'd like to go deeper. And so since we're here and looking for new relationships, then let's just end it now and follow up later.
Well, that sounds great, Dart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important, and I think it's also important you have a little bit deeper, more meaningful conversations. If in that amount of time you're only meeting about 3 people, right, and you make them feel like you're genuinely interested in them, because you genuinely are,
right.
Yeah. And it's not to say that I'm not. I'm just a different personality.
That's
like,
right.
I love people, and I just want to meet everyone. And so
right.
when people start to get in a deep conversation with me, when there's a large crowd in a large room, I'll take them to Dart. And that's not being mean. If I take you to Dart, if I see you in public and I take you to Dart, it's just like, oh, I value you. I want to get to know you more, but talk to him on a deeper level. And I'm going to go socialize some more just because I love to socialize. But the drawback to that, there are drawbacks to that. The drawback to that could be someone might feel like I don't care enough to get to know them, which is that's not true.
No.
Because I just love people in general. Also, sometimes just because I'm fun and social, people will feel like, oh, don't know, can I take you seriously? And so sometimes I have to take a longer amount of time, because what we do for a living, we serve people, but it takes a humongous amount of trust for someone to trust us and say, oh my gosh, you're so fun loving, and you really know how to do all of this stuff behind the scenes in the background. So sometimes I have to work harder at that trust level, just because my personality is so seemingly flamboyant.
Right. Right.
So it's not that I don't care or I don't work hard behind the scenes or I don't do things, with integrity. It's just that when I'm in a room full of people, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, like I can meet so many people, and that's what fuels me, and it's fun.
It's where you get your energy.
I do get my energy from that.
Right.
I don't have to come home and be an introvert and try to get my strength back up. I'm just like,
Right.
oh yes, let's go to another meeting.
Exactly.
But I think these things, what we're bringing up, are important because people
know your personality and work within your personality.
Absolutely, and realize what your strengths and your weaknesses are.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't have a buddy like Dirt, but just realize, and you can say that to people. You can be honest with them up front and be like, man, I really want to get to know you. I know I just met you. Hey, when can you have coffee meeting? But put it on your phone. Have your phone with you. Put it on the calendar. Get their contact information.
Right. Yeah. If you get a card, and collect the cards, but then what's really important is that if you just collect a card, maybe you don't set the appointment yet. It's like, okay, it's whatever reason, then follow up with an email, follow up with a phone call, set that appointment, get them on the calendar. There's all kinds of tools for that. This is not a digital. This is more of the humanity part of it for it to talk about, but a little bit of structure. So when I go to a coffee meeting, however that looks like, because like I said, it could be a Zoom, it could be a phone call, and so a tip that we learned today is just a phrase I'd never heard, is like, listen with your eyes.
Yes.
It's so important. Yes. So when you're out here and meeting people and stuff like that, and they're having conversations, like, be careful you're not scanning the room, for the next person to talk to while you're supposedly listening to someone.
Engaging in conversation.
So listen, always listen with your eyes. And it just shows respect.
Well, I used to teach that to the kids when they were growing up. I'd be like, look at me, I want you to listen, but I need you to look at me. Yeah, we know how
you'd say it.
Yeah.
You better look at me. No, I'm just kidding.
What? No. But I would
she's not that kind of mama.
But, just saying, look at, look at me, because I want to know that they're hearing me and they're seeing me, they're understanding me.
Right.
And I think that's also, so that's important. So to think to yourself, I'm out here and a lot of stuff's going on in the room, but look at the person that you're talking to.
Right. So when you get into the coffee meeting, it's even more, noticeable and important to listen with your eyes. And I choose to use a notebook. This is a unique color. I can see it anywhere in my office and reach and grab it. But it's also a system so that you can remove the pages. And you can always put a clean page up on top. And so it's not having to dig through to find the blank page. And it's just that I've just found after trying multiple things is that it just works really well for me. And then, so whenever I'm in a meeting, so I've come up, it's like trying to help people, is an acronym that you can remember is called FUN. FUN. So
I can remember that.
So you're always at a meeting to have fun. And what does fun mean?
What does fun mean, Dart?
So the F means to find their passion.
Yes.
Yeah. So find their passion, whether it's being in their hobby, whether it be in at work, especially at work, it's like, what are they passionate about? What is their skill set? How do they like helping people? Are they like-minded and things like that? So the F is find their passion. The U is their uniqueness. What's unique about them? What is something about them that that it's easy for you to remember? So mark down the uniqueness, and N is need. So it's
that's good.
Kind of two things. So it's like, what do you need that's going to fill your passion? That's going to help you reach your goal. What your desires and things like that. But also is to make note is that what can they give you that you need? So what's in their relationships or, themselves or other, it's like, and so these are things that and I like to take notes. And so by using the notebook and writing down, there's no way that is disrespectful. Because if someone is saying something, matter of fact, I've heard, it's like teachers and instructors and mentors, says, how long will I keep doing this? And he said, as long as you keep writing notes. I will do this year after year as long as there's somebody in the audience who is taking notes, which means I'm saying something that's worth writing down.
Yes.
Now, if you're using this little thing, if you look at it, they don't know, they can interpret you as taking notes, but most likely if you're checking your text or you're doing something else, and it's harder to keep eye contact because you're having to hunt and peck and stuff like that. There's like from a technology, there's Evernote. A lot of people like to use that, and you can take a picture of their card and drop it into Evernote. So,
I do think that when you take notes, that when you get back home at the end of your day or end of your meeting, you upload those, and then
that's where I'm getting to next. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So I write it down because it helps me. The selfish thing is it helps me remember whenever I'm taking notes, and I have the ability that whenever, so we get home, I get home and pull out my notes. And so then I will scan that in, and I build computer file folders. And so I put networking, then I have professions. So I'm look to put them into a certain type of profession, so that, for instance, we talk to a lot of attorneys, that we work with, CPAs, doctors. So whatever, could be engineering, it could be anything.
Well, let's be honest. Sometimes people just ask us, who cuts your grass? I mean,
there you go. Yeah.
People
and they're in the lawn care
stuff.
business. Yeah. So whatever, and so, I build another folder of their name and, and what their profession is. And so that way I'm kind of categorizing that. And then whenever I put into work in their folder, I'll scan their notes in. Maybe I open up a Word file. Maybe I retype it, and expand on it. But I'll put especially the date and where we met and something memorable that happened there. And so a lot of times I'll do a phone call introduction between someone, and I'll bring up things like that, and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, you got such a good memory. Yeah, I read my notes before I made this phone call or before I made this email," or things like that.
But you cared enough to take the time to do that.
Well, yes.
But let's talk about I did want you to mention in your contacts, what you do in your contacts in your phone.
All right. So there's definitely a unique thing that you can do if you got iPhones. I don't know about Androids. But when you got your contact, there is a one slot for related person. And so you have to add the custom. I don't think that friend is in one of them, but so you can make custom ones. But I kind of like to just keep it. Most times it's just friend. And so, for instance, if I meet someone, I get their contact, and maybe they're a friend of Lisa's, and so if I can't remember that person's name, I can search Lisa's name, and it will come up with all the people that I connected to her and called them their friend.
Yes.
And so I'm like, what is if I could just see a name, it will help me.
Yeah. You'll be like, that's it.
So transparency here, I am not the best at remembering names. So I have to use little techniques to help bring that around. And
you say you're not the best at remembering names, but whatever technique you use, it works, because I can ask you what was, and you get it. You have a really great way of doing that.
Yeah, but sometimes just on the spot, it's very tough for me. But so then, when you understand what they need, what's unique about them, what their passion is, so always remember fun.
Yes.
It's like, and you can write fun on your paper, on your notes, just to remind you. Go to find, make sure the conversation drives to find these things before it's over with, and focus on them, because they will remember that you were very interested in them.
Yes, and they'll walk away feeling so loved.
Right, and they absolutely will, and they will feel. It's the result of that is that they will feel obligated to ask what they can do for you. And so then always look to find, usually after a coffee meeting, is who are 2 to 3 people that I can make immediate introduction to. That somebody I already know, that's somebody that likes and trusts me, and that's just a quality relationship.
But there's something that you just said made me think about, like, I love going, like, in the mornings, I always pray, Lord, I pray whoever I meet with today, when they walk away, they'll feel more loved than what they did before we met. But my issue with what you said is, when I go to a meeting, I don't think about, oh, what if they ask me, what do I need? And I go there. So that's what I go with, unprepared. Like, oh,
Right.
shucks, I didn't think about myself. So some
Yeah.
of you who are like me,
We're giving you permission to think about yourself.
right. And sometimes that's hard because you don't think about that.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, let me go just see how I can help them, how I can love on them, and, help them, get to where they, or their next level, or what they want to be, or who I can introduce them to. And I forget to think
Right.
about, oh, could it be a reciprocal relationship?
Yeah.
So yeah, think about that in advance.
Yeah. And for me personally, I like to use the word introductions. Some people like to use referral, and I've been taught and trained and all this stuff, ask for referrals. And my business grows in two ways, one, doing business with you, and two, the referrals that I get from you. And I think it's a little hokey. However, I love introductions because there's no expectations. Let me introduce you to so-and-so. Let's just see if there is a connection here. If you can help each other. That's
And
just
which,
my language.
and I think it's true, because usually I'll say to the person, hey, if this is not a good fit, that's not
Right.
a bad reflection on me or
Right.
on them. It just
Right.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you let them off the hook a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like someone calls and, hey, I got a referral for you. Oh, okay, well, tell me about them. Well, I tell you what, why don't we meet for lunch or do a Zoom together, and give it and just introduce us, and let's just see where it goes.
Yeah.
And there again is like, I'm trying to release the pressure, and it takes the pressure off on both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Dart, what was your last little trick
So-
and tick?
The whole thing is that this takes energy. It takes time in this day and age, is that there's no less time, but there seems to be a lot of pull on our time just from various things that are going on. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so just to maximize the time that you're using to building relationships, and so that you're just building meaningful relationships just by taking a little bit of time to actually, to make your notes, put them in the right place so that it saves you time whenever you say, oh, I need to introduce you to John.
Right. Or so-and-so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
because I have some very good, meaningful relationships that maybe I only talk to them 2 or 3 times a year,
Yep.
And so I was like, who is that does this? And so,
Yes. But one more tip I think I like
Mhm.
is if you're having an event or the event organizer, I would always suggest name tags. Right, Dart?
absolutely.
Name tags.
Name tags takes pressure off like you would not believe, especially, if you're doing a lot, if somebody's meeting a lot and knows a lot of people, and it's like, oh, I hate it. I can't just call
Yep.
your name right
Yep.
off the bat.
And if you just do a first name, and so you make it really big and really bold, don't put your first name, last name, your business, your email, all on this little name
Yeah.
tag, right? Just put
Yeah.
your first name. And that way, but I think it's been just
Mhm.
studies show that people actually engage more often when they
Right.
see your name, because you're like, I know that person. I can't remember their name. Don't know if I want to go up and talk to
Right.
them or not.
Right.
I don't have
Yeah.
a wingman to go help me out and get their name.
That's right. That's right.
So yes.
Yeah, that helps out a lot. And one other quick tip is that, as if you're organizing it through folders, is that you can also duplicate your folders and put it into interests. So if you have bike riders, if you have, if they like to, do jogging, because they, that's part of just finding out the fun of it, and something unique and memorable, is that do they run marathons or things like that. So if they do categories of things, well, when an event is coming up,
Yes.
and you see something cool, one of the things you can do is like, oh, who is it that I know that cares about, this bike ride fundraiser or something like that. And man, just, taking time to send that to like 10 people, and that you go, oh, I can't go, but the fact that you thought of me
Yes.
just to send it to me
yes.
is huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I think at the end of the day, Dart, whether it's business or personal, professional life, whatever, or even at
Mhm.
church, everyone just wants to love and be loved.
Right.
And really, if you think about it, networking is the same kind of thing. Like
Right.
you want to make that person feel valuable.
Right. Well, it's like we go about our business every day about it's just, it's not like, well, we do business for this amount of time and now we're going to do personal or anything like that. Is that it is, we are just who we are 24/7. And so, at the same, so just doesn't, we're not labeling it, business and personal or so forth. It's just our life. And so with anything we do, our life is just about building quality relationships. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. But hey, if you have any cool tips and tricks we didn't talk about, we'd love to hear about those too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, well, we want to say a special shout out to our lovely Miss McKenna, who is our hall monitor, web designer, and go-to for any technical possibility. And
almost like an everyday communication for me and McKenna.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, McKenna.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Monday, right, Dart?
That's right.
Absolutely, Lord willing.
That's right.
Blessings.
All right.
Bye.